Okay, before I get to this article, I'm going to go ahead and say right out the gate, in my humble opinion, as a Marvel guy, I'm going to have to say Darkseid wins. I've heard this argument. If you would have approached me when I was younger, if you would have approached me maybe 15 years ago, I might have told you Thanos. Again, because I am a Marvel guy. But the more I've learned about Darkseid, I'm like, nah, I don't think Thanos has anything for Darkseid. I don't think he does. I don't think he wins in that battle. Anyway, I didn't read the article in advance, so let's get into this article right here from comicbook.com. Darkseid versus Thanos. Who is the greater villain and would win in a fight? In the universe of DC and Marvel, few things are as feared as Darkseid, the Lord of Apocalypse, and Thanos, the Mad Titan. Both villains served as the big bads for their respective universe, with power and ruthlessness to back it up. Darkseid first appeared in 1971 and has routinely sought to dominate all of existence. In response to Darkseid's popularity, Marvel introduced in 1973 its own intergalactic villain, Thanos. Hell-bent on universal conquest, Darkseid and Thanos are both powerful individuals with some of the most extraordinary feats of villainy in their respective universes. So, if the two were to battle for supremacy, which one would stand victorious as the ultimate supervillain? And again, I say unequivocally Thanos. I don't even think this is a competition. I mean, not Thanos, excuse me. I say Darkseid. And I don't even think this is a competition. At one point, I did think it was. But when you look at the history of Thanos and the history of Darkseid, when you look at their powers, I just don't think Thanos can muster enough power to do anything to Darkseid, especially if he doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones. Darkseid and Thanos' origins and power sets are very different. Darkseid is a new god, a species of all-powerful deities. Darkseid is the god of evil and draws his strength from the Omega effect, an endless power source of pure entropy and destruction. Thanos, in contrast, hails from Titan and is a member of a superpowered species of humans known as Eternals, but was born resembling their grotesque counterparts, the Deviants. Thanos fell in love with Lady Death and has sought to kill as many people as possible to win her affection. To accomplish this task, Thanos has wielded some of the most powerful artifacts in the Marvel Universe, most notably the Infinity Gauntlet, which grants the user practical omnipotence. But again, when you look at the extras, I would view the Infinity Gauntlet as an extra of Thanos. You get rid of that Infinity Gauntlet, and he doesn't stand a chance. With the Infinity Gauntlet, I think it's a battle. It's a battle, but I still believe Darkseid comes out on top. Darkseid is so much more menacing than Thanos. And don't get me wrong, Thanos is a menace. I just don't think he's a menace on that level. There's some villains that even though they have been compared over the years, I just think they're at different levels. Darkseid and Thanos are compelling villains who possess a near infinite number of destructive capabilities and have effortlessly bested some of the strongest figures of their universes. Both can defeat gods and entire armies of superheroes, destroy planets, and reshape reality itself. However, while their initial clash would be of cosmic proportions, if Thanos wields the Infinity Gauntlet, then he would have the advantage over base from Darkseid. I'm not. I'm inclined to say, yeah, I can agree with that, but I am not completely convinced that Thanos wins against Darkseid even with the Infinity Gauntlet. Darkseid is a nightmarish entity and is undoubtedly one of the strongest figures in DC Comics. Darkseid routinely defeats Superman, has killed Zeus, has fought the equally powerful, the new god, High Father, for 7 days straight, and much more. Darkseid's durability is so immense that he shook off a hit by Green Lantern Alan Scott, who at the time was fueled by the infinite multiverse. Darkseid's signature ability is his Omega beams, which are deadly from which are deadly forms of heat vision that can change direction and track down their targets before annihilating them. Darkseid also hosts a range of abilities, including mind control, telekinesis, cosmic awareness, dimensional teleportation, size alteration, death loop taps, and more. And the thing is, he doesn't need other artifacts or some other thing to do this. And this is why I say I just don't think Thanos has what it takes to take on Darkseid. It would be a gruesome battle, and I think it would produce some great comic book. But I think if it ends in any way other than Darkseid winning, I just don't think it will be accurate to their powers. However, even with these powers, base form, Darkseid is vulnerable to Thanos' might. I don't know if I agree with this article. Man. But this is one of those classic discussions that, us geeks like to have. Who would win against who? I'd like to know what you think in the comments. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you know more about Thanos than I know, or maybe there's some, one-off comic book where Thanos displays some crazy ability that I'm unaware of that would definitely give him the ultimate advantage over Darkseid. But I just don't think that's the case. While Thanos is powerful in his own right, the Infinity Gauntlet allows him to control the fundamental aspects of the universe. The Infinity Gauntlet channels the 6 Infinity Stones, which gives Thanos dominion over souls, minds, power, space, time, and reality. With the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos has defeated numerous gods and abstract entities, including Galactus, the Stranger, and the Omnipotent Eternity. Thanos also infamously used the Infinity Gauntlet to kill half of all life in the universe with a mere snap of his fingers. A power even base from Darkseid wouldn't be immune to. Unfortunately, even if Thanos manages to kill base form Darkseid, he will still have to deal with the true Lord of Apocalypse. And see, you see how all the things they bring up are surrounding the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stone. So here's what I posit. Darkseid knows what he's doing, right? Brilliant in his own right. If I'm Darkseid, I'm like, okay, this dude is a clear threat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that gauntlet he has. And then once that gauntlet is gone, it's all over. It's a wrap. And I think that is exactly how this will go down. Darkseid may seem like a mere galactic tyrant. The truth is, it's only an avatar. The base form Darkseid, the one who routinely battles the heroes of DC, is a mere puppet and fraction of the true Darkseid might. As a new god, Darkseid is the essence of evil itself. He rests in the higher dimension of the fourth world and molds weaker avatars to interact with the multiverse. Thanos would undoubtedly be able to reduce one of these avatars to dust, but he isn't strong enough to fight the new god's proper form. True Darkseid makes these weaker avatars because if he were to interact with the multiverse directly, he would destroy it as mere side effect. Nothing Thanos has can match that level of power. And this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Like there is a point where Thanos has nothing else for Darkseid. And I don't think that works the other way around. I think Darkseid will always have one up and be able to really do some damage to Thanos. Uh, Although the Infinity Gauntlet gives Thanos the power to shape the universe, its power is limited to one universe. Once the gauntlet enters another universe, the Infinity Stones don't work, and Thanos is forced to rely on his raw strength, which at best can destroy stars. Even the gods that Thanos has beaten, while powerful, are still only multiversal beings. True Darkseid is an entity who exists above the infinite multiverse and isn't bound by the rules of time and space, meaning that Thanos couldn't even hurt him. True Darkseid could easily transport Thanos to the fourth world or to another universe, where he is left without the aid of the Infinity Gauntlet. In contrast, True Darkseid has no limits as to where he can use the Omega effect. And this is my exact point, and it looks like they're coming to this conclusion. And look, it's crazy for me to be sitting here saying this. And the crazy part about it is I would have argued you down and I would not have relented years ago. But the more I've warmed up to DC, I'm still a Marvel guy, but I've warmed up more to DC, and I just understand that Darkseid is just that dude. Darkseid is just that dude. Darkseid has accomplished some of the most incredible feats in comics that put him far beyond anything Thanos has ever done. During Infinity Frontier, True Darkseid killed the entire Quintessence with a single shot. The Quintessence is a group of the most powerful entities in the DC multiverse. Yet still, Thanos struggled against eternity and the combined forces of several gods, even when he had the gauntlet. Darkseid's scariest feat was when he was dying during a final crisis, deciding that he couldn't rule everything, he would destroy everything, so he allowed himself to fall from fourth world downwards onto the infinite DC multiverse. True Darkseid, mere shadow over the multiverse, plunged it into chaos. If he had impacted the multiverse, all of time and space would have ended at once. And the conclusion, winner, Darkseid. Now, at first, it kind of initially looked like the article was going in the other direction. But, I mean, how could you possibly have Thanos beating Darkseid? Just being a fan of comics and reading, especially when I did my, I have a Darkseid origin video. Go watch that. I have a playlist of comic book origins. I did a bunch of research for that video, and I was like, man, yeah, Darkseid, yeah, he's a problem. He is a problem. Thanos is unquestionably one of the strongest and deadliest villains Marvel has to offer, and would be able to match and even surpass an avatar of Darkseid. Despite this, the moment Darkseid reveals his true form and power, not even the Infinity Gauntlet would be able to protect the Mad Titan. Thanos is a universal and occasional multiversal threat. However, he is still very much constricted by the laws of his dimension. Darkseid, in contrast, is a god who exists on a plane of existence incomprehensible to mere mortals, and always possesses an infinite wealth of destructive potential. Due to the limits of Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, Darkseid would view the Mad Titan as a mere nuisance. Thanos may be inevitable, but Darkseid is. Wow. I would like to know what you think in the comments, who you think would win. I like Thanos, and Thanos is definitely menacing, but against Darkseid, I just don't think he has the chops, and I have to agree with this article. Again, as a Marvel guy, this pains me, but this is just the truth.